Was he erect? Was there a time he was not erect? Could you explain to Judge Simpson when he was not erect?
Initially, when in the recliner.
How do you know he wasn't erect in the recliner?
Because he put his penis near my vagina at that time, and it didn't sound like it was. I guess I don't know 100% for sure.
Court does call the case of the people. Jason Sibley.
And good afternoon again, Your Honor. Jacob Kennedy, the people.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ed Latrisky appearing on behalf of Jason. Right?
Your name, sir?
Jason Sibley.
Your Honor, thank you. Let's take that.
At this time, the people would call to the stand Danielle Messer.
Locked on me.
Ma'am, please come forward and be sworn.
JC, raise your right hand. Solemnly swear to affirm the testimony about the truth to be the truth, the whole truth, that tells the truth, so be God. Please spell your first and last name for the record.
Yes, that's here.
All right. You may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hold on, you got that locked on. All right.
Go ahead. Thank you, Your Honor. Danielle, how are you doing today? Good. My name is Jake. We met this morning. Before we begin today, I just want to run through a few testifying basics with you, okay? First and foremost, the microphone in front of you, it doesn't amplify your voice, but it records your voice, okay? So I'm going to ask that you speak in full and complete sentences and words. Try to avoid using words like and things like that, okay? We do that for purposes of allowing our recorder to make a complete and accurate record of what we're talking about here today, okay? If at any time I ask you a question that you don't understand, it's okay to say that you don't know. And if at any time you ask a question, or I ask a question that you don't know, it's okay to say that you don't know. Does that all sound okay to you? And lastly, if there's at any point during your testimony today that you need a break or need to take a second, please feel free to let myself know or Judge Simpson know. Does that all sound good to you? Okay, perfect. Danielle, do you know someone by the name of Jason Sibley? And do you know someone by the name of Jason Sibley? And do you see Jason Sibley in the courtroom today? Could you please point to him and tell the court something that he's wearing?
Sure.
Your Honor, would the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant?
That objection, record so reflect.
Okay.
And Danielle, how did you first come to know the defendant?
Dating
And what was the name of that app? And did you talk on that app?
So
Did you ever, just so I'm clear, did that conversation happen on your phone or on your computer or something else? Okay. Did you ever talk on your phone outside of the Tinder app?
after a period of exchanged phone numbers.
Did you ever make plans to meet the defendant in person? What were those plans?
Wanted to meet up. Whom at the time he was working, so we found time that we decided we would go for a walk in the park. Just see from there.
And where were you first going to meet the defendant? And where is that apartment? And what county is that in? Do you recall the date that you met the defendant at his apartment?
Where?
Do you know what year? Okay. And do you recall that date? And you said that you made plans to meet the defendant at his apartment in the city of Ann Arbor on that day. Did that come to be. Could you tell me about when you first got there?
When I first got, I pulled in the parking lot. I texted him and asked him like, where do I go from here? Where's the complex?
Mhm.
He responded and said to follow the sidewalk or on the back. Meet me at the door.
Okay. And then what happened?
At the doors, we went upstairs to his apartment and went in. He showed me around. We talked and awkward first interaction talking. I started searching and we decided to go ahead and do the walk at the park. He asked if I wanted to drive, like we discussed how we should get there essentially, and I said that it might be best if he drove because I'm not familiar with that area and what park it was, like where it was in relationship to his apartment. So we agreed on that, and we went down to his car. So
Did you then go to the park? And what did you do at the park?
drove there, got there, and other people there and stuff. We followed the trail around and stuff, talked, tried to get to know each other more and everything.
Did you leave the park with a defendant? Where did you go? And what happened once you were at the apartment?
While we were walking, I don't really remember what we discussed as far as shows or something, but it was in relationship to like shows we had or hadn't seen or interested in watching, and they decided upon watching something when we got back to his apartment. So that was what we looked back at.
So you're at his apartment and you're watching a show together. What happens while you're watching the show?
Watched for a period of time. He asked if I wanted anything to drink. I said yes, and I asked for water. And before that he was going to have a drink of beer, I believe it was, and I was fine with that. We watched the show. Yeah, the little bar area, and get a drink there. Then he went back to the kitchen at some point because we were just coming back through. He had asked him, "This me?" I said yes. And back, and I was still sitting in the recliner at that time, and so he was standing or leaned over and gave me a kiss, and that was fine.
What happened after that?
He continued to do that, and a little taken back at first, and
Did you say anything to him?
that second, but then as he continued, I said, "That's enough."
And when you say as it continued, as what continued?
Like kissing and touching.
And who was touching who?
He was touching.
And what part of you was he touching?
Or so my shots. That time, it's just that.
What was he touching your breasts? And then what happened?
It just continued. I don't know if he was still standing at that point or knelt. And probably like level, if you will. You doing that?
Were you saying anything to him at this point?
Stop. I didn't. Too much. He used his hands to get a hold of my waistband pulled my pants down and exposed my bottom and genital area.
Then what happened? Where did he touch you with his hands?
Bottom area.
And was that when he touched your vagina, was it the outside or the inside of your vagina? Both. Was he saying anything while this was happening? Were you saying anything when that was happening?
So there was a point where I wasn't really saying a whole lot because I don't know if I was like shocked, like, I was crying, I was upset. Powerless at that moment. Didn't do much about it.
At that point, did you feel as if you were free to leave? What happened after that?
At my right behind the chair was like the bedroom, and he had like his hands on my arms, and essentially, like, it's hard to explain, but like not lifted me like my full weight, but like flipped it, like to guide me where he wanted me to go.
Did he grab you off the chair?
Yeah, like not necessarily grab in the sense of like really incredibly forceful, but like he had a hold of my arms and like it was like, what if, start to move, like, and I honestly wasn't fighting it.
And did he lead you somewhere? And what happened once you were in the room?
We said the room it's kind of the side there, and so he was in front of me, and when we got towards the bed, it was like, so like my legs touched the back of the bed, so it was like I was with consistence on him doing it, like, but I was like forced into a sitting position.
You said he forced the sitting position? Okay.
Because it was there.
Were you pushed into the bed after you were pushed into the bed?
I know his shirt was off at the time. I don't know. I don't recall seeing like move his pants, but I know his shirt was off. Was like leaned on me. Penetration was inside my vagina.
What part of him? Do you recall approximately how long that lasted?
Seemed like a while, but I don't think it was.
Did he say anything to you while that was happening? He said that's what you came there for? And were you saying anything?
Stop when I was trying, but I also didn't feel like there was a whole lot I could do at the moment. I feel like in hindsight,
When did it end? How did you know it was over?
He removed his penis from.
And did he go somewhere? And what did you do?
Pulled my hands up and stuff so that I was covered. My bag or purse that I had, I don't recall what it was in the living room. I got that and I left the apartment.
I just want to back up here just quickly. Okay. When you were in the bedroom with the defendant, did you feel as if you were free to leave? You said that he was on top of you. Did you feel restrained? So once you left the apartment, where did you go? And you got in your car, right? And did you drive somewhere? Okay. And why did you do that?
Because although like I was worried I was hurt or and I knew like I needed to be checked and I was in pain. Thought that was the right thing to do.
Did you report this to law enforcement? And did you make a report with them? Okay. Your Honor, may I have just one moment?
You may.
Thank you. Danielle, I have no further questions at this time. Defense counsel is going to have a few questions for you. Okay. Are you doing all right?
Cross-examination.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Ed Latursky and I represent Mr. Sibley. Same rules apply. If you don't know the answer, just say so. Don't nod your head. Say no, say yes, that kind of a thing. I am not going to raise my voice with you. I'm not going to give you a hard time. So I want you to know that going in. Okay. So this occurred on what date again? How long had you and Mr. Sibley been communicating through Tinder?
Tinder and text, I've been maybe like a
Week? Okay. What is your understanding of what the Tinder platform does? Is it known for hookups, as they call it?
but it's not like dating platform.
Okay, have you used it before?
That's yeah.
Okay. How did it come that you went to his apartment as opposed to him picking you up? Okay. And he didn't seem to mind that you knew where he lived, correct? I mean, he gave you the address, right? Okay. Do you have any qualms about meeting him at his apartment? Okay. So you drove. Do you know what park you went to? Okay. And in the police report, it says you didn't know then either. Is that right? You weren't sure which park it was, but it wasn't far from his apartment. Would that be true? Okay. And you say you were walking on a path or a trail. And I think, and if I'm, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think you said it was about an hour that you were walking with him. A little less, maybe. A little less, maybe. Okay. Okay. Did you ever have any, what I'm going to call bad vibes talking to him? Okay. So you go for the walk. You just talk about general things, nothing out of the normal.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you get back to the house. He offers you a drink. He gets a beer, I think you said. And what happened after that? Okay. How long do you think you were watching the show, and do you recall what the show was?
All what the show was, and I had to guess, I'd say half an hour to an hour.
Okay. All right. And then what happened? Oh, let me back up. Were you seated in one recliner and was he seated in another recliner? So you're sitting in two recliners. How far apart were they, if you know, roughly?
You know, I'm pretty sure there was a table in between us, like a end table.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay. Anything on that end table, if you know? Okay. And then what happened? He brought, I think what kind of drink did you get?
Water.
Okay, you got a water and you got a beer, is that right? Okay. And then what happened after you got your water? I'm sorry?
What?
Right. No, but after 45 minutes, an hour or so, I'm sorry, that was my bad. What happened after you were done watching the show? Maybe you weren't done, but something happened, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And he asked you, correct? And you said, okay, right? And then what happened? Okay. Which you had at least initially said that was fine. He asked you and you were okay with the kiss, right? Then what happened?
Yes, I'm sorry. You went, mm-hmm.
Oh.
But you meant yes, it's okay.
All right. Thank you, Anna. He asked to kiss you first. You said yes. And then describe what happened.
He continued after like the initial the starting of it. He continued to.
Okay. And did you ever say stop? And I'm going to jump forward and then I'll come back. But do you recall talking to the police that evening? This detective in particular, if you remember.
He wasn't there that day.
Okay. You're right, by the way. Just he was not there that night. But when you did talk to the police, did you ever tell them that you told Mr. Sibley to stop?
But
What if I told you it's not in the police report, the word stop? Would that change your answer?
no.
Okay.
So my answer to whether or not I told them that.
Yeah.
Or it may not.
So you're saying that if you didn't tell the police you told Jason to stop, then maybe you didn't tell them that at all. Is that correct?
I tell the police that.
Yeah. Did you tell the police that you told Jason to stop?
So I don't recall.
Your Honor, I would also object on the basis of speculation. Danielle here did not actually write the report, so whether or not she told the police that she said stop, they documented it, wrote it down, and put it in the report that was ultimately sent to my office. Isn't something that she would actually be aware of.
I can take the police report out of it and ask and get to the same point, Your Honor.
They take the police report out.
Thank you. Did you tell the police you spoke to that night that you told Jason to stop? Okay. And were you still in the recliner when you told him to stop? Okay. Did you tell him to stop more than once? What would you say to him? Did you just use the word stop? Okay. And you were crying during this? Okay. And were you crying during the entire time from when he kissed you until you left?
Once things started getting intensified and I began crying, I would say, yeah, I was probably crying to some degree during that period of time.
Okay. Okay. Had you had anything to drink or smoke or anything that would alter your capabilities mentally that day? Anything unusual that day? Did you go to work? Okay. Do you work? Got it. Okay. All right. You made a statement to the police about grabbing his face Do you recall that? I'm sorry. Okay. All right. And did you grab his face hard enough that you thought it might leave a mark of some sort?
I thought eventually it could have.
Okay. And would it, well, I'll skip that. And then the forearms, I think you had indicated to the police you thought you had scratched his forearms. Is that right?
Yeah, probably during, well, he was touching me and stuff, yeah.
Okay. And would it surprise you if he had no mark on his face or scratches on his arms? Right. You just said you thought you left marks on him, and would it surprise you if there weren't any? Okay. Do you know whether or not the police took pictures of him that night? All right. You indicated that you, once the incident was concluded, he went into the bathroom. Is that right? And you took off. Was there any conversation on the way out? Not that you recall. Did you say goodbye? You just rushed out? Do you know whether or not protection was used? A condom? You don't know if it was or it wasn't? Do you know whether or not he ejaculated inside of you?
And I think I recall telling that to the police, or maybe it was the nurse, that didn't feel as though there were extra fluids.
Okay. All right. So based on that, you don't think he ejaculated inside your vagina, is that right? Okay. Do you know, if you know, why we're here today after 2.5 years? Do you know why is there a reason that you're aware of? That it took so long to issue this charge?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation as to why my office made the discharging decisions that we made.
I'm just asking her if she knows.
Hold on. You're asking her why it took so long?
If she knows. If she knows.
No.
No.
You weren't involved in the charging decision. I didn't think so. Decision. I didn't think so. All right, go ahead. Keep on.
Few more questions and I'm done. Was he erect? Was there a time he was not erect? Could you explain to Judge Simpson when he was not erect?
Initially, when in the recliner.
How do you know he wasn't erect in the recliner?
Because he put his penis near my vagina at that time, and it didn't sound like it was. I guess I don't know 100% for sure.
On the recliner, though, your pants were down. He pulled your pants down on the recliner. Okay, I had thought that happened a little later, but am I mistaken? It happened right on that recliner. He pulled your pants down. Okay. I have nothing further at this time.
Then, would it refresh your recollection as to what you told the police if I showed you a copy of the police report? Your Honor, may I approach it?
I mean, Judge, I wouldn't have an objection to her statement, but that's a police report.
It's just used for the basis of refreshing her recollection as to whether or not she told the police that she had told the defendant to stop.
But I thought you objected to that. To rephrase his question, it took the police report out. So
As long as
I'm not going to.
fair enough, Your Honor. Then no further questions.
Thank you.
And no further witness.
Defense had no witnesses, Your Honor.
Right. Motion to bind over.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. At this time, the people would move for bind over on all accounts. I do believe that the testimony from Danielle Mintzer provides certainly more than enough probable cause to bind the defendant over, that given that the defendant did in an apartment located in the city of Ann Arbor, County of Washtenaw, engaged in sexual penetration by way of both digital vaginal penetration and through the use of his penis as well. I would also sort to bind over on count 3 of unlawful imprisonment. Not only did Ms. Messer feel as if she was unable to, while she was located on the recliners within the apartment, she also felt as if she was restrained and unable to leave while the defendant was on top of her in the act of criminal sexual. I would save all additional argument for rebuttal, Your Honor. Thank you.
Response.
Your Honor, very briefly, I try to be a realist. I'm not going to argue too much. However, I do not believe, and I'm getting older, so it could be my error, but I do not believe that there was any testimony regarding digital penetration using a finger. And I could be wrong, but I did not write that down. So I don't think that's about right. That's count 1.
I respond. Yes. Your Honor, I do believe that Ms. Messer testified that defendant used his hand, and I specifically asked her if his hand was inside of her vagina or outside of her vagina, and she said both.
Both. Yes, that's what I have. That inside and out. Yep. Okay. Based on the testimony in this case, the court does find certainly that Ms. Messer's testimony is credible. She describes in detail the events of that night. As she's describing the events, she also indicated that she told him to stop and was using a phrase, that's enough, to him. Based upon her testimony, the defendant did not stop. And then at some point, he's grabbing her in a manner, and as she's describing how he's grabbing, I can understand what she's getting at. That basically restrained her, or at least used her arms and her body to move her toward the bedroom. Based upon all of the testimony, I believe that the people have indeed sustained their burden and would bind the defendant over on all 3 counts.
Thank you, Your Honor.
As to the arraignment, you waive formal reading and say,
Yes.
you waive formal reading and say,
Yes, I do.
all right. And then every formal reading, standing mute, court will enter a not guilty plea. Pre-trial in this matter will be set for
October 13th at 1:30.
October 13th, 2026, 1:30.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I approach to sign the information?
May, sir. And we'll continue. Okay, the last one that I have, and I have to thank Judge Berg for helping us get through.